I mean, we saw like Leona had like a whole bunch of games. Alistair was doing really good. But then teams were just like, hang on a second, Rell's busted. And even on 11.3, she's getting buffed as well. So let's just put the practice in on her. She has a 64% win rate over 25 games. So why not just take a really strong support for yourself, pair it with Crisp in the bottom lane, and even if you want to, leave this jungle just for the next rotation.
Well, they say, no, Dagda, we want to take our jungle right now. Bo, he's picking for himself. He doesn't want to mess with the trades. He's got to get in the zone after the draft. Over to the side of top esports, though, what would you like to see?
Right now, their bot lane, I think you take either the Senna or something along these lines. The bottom lane, thank you very much, JackeyLove, for making me look good. I was going to say the support. I actually wanted to see a strong support paired with it. Knight going towards the Syndra now means that, at least on Doinb's side, you just take your counter pick here for Doinb. You go, cool, I don't have to lock in anything blind, and then you can be in really good spot. But it actually looks like they're going to go towards the support instead and just say, look, Doinb's got a champion Ocean. We don't really care. He'll find something out of his back pocket that'll work against the Syndra.
I think that's the big thing, right? Is just like, what? I mean, you can ban who you like. Doinb's still going to have a chance to play. He's still going to find a way to get out of that mid lane and get onto the map. Now, the ban's going towards Zhuo once again, which is what we saw in game number 1. This Alistair taken away. Sett has been banned. Rell's already been picked. Maybe a Leona ban could completely remove Zhuo from the game.
Yeah, I think Leona's great. I think Rumble on the opposite side for top esports is going to be the ban. Just trying to get anything that can just shrug off the damage the Syndra wants to do, and anything that's really good in those home scenarios as well. Looking at FPX though, they're still over on. There is the argument as well to start banning the top laner, but looks like actually we completely forgot Seraphine, who's just risen so much in priority, especially when you got the Senna there as well. Can work very well. So they're just going to get rid of that Seraphine. Probably take a Leona here for Zhuo. And for 369 as a blind top pick, he's gone towards the Gnar a lot in his games, but that's going to be actually banned by top esports. So now I don't know. We'll have to see what 369 is going to take, because imagine you go your mid laner here and just leave that counter pick for Nuguri.
Well, hang on. Just before we get too excited, we got a Kled coming in. It could be for Doinb. It's possible that Nuguri takes that either. So I don't want to say too much about the Kled. I would expect that to be Doinb, though. It is one of the old classics for Doinb. Now to top esports, as they've got to get themselves a support in the top lane.
Yeah, there is the opportunity if they wanted to go towards this Camille. You've got the support from Senna in the bot lane with the ult. Hey, you got Pantheon as well, who can dive that really easily. So at least now you've got a strong potential dive in this top lane that you can play around. Try and have 369 plays this counter pick, or sorry, is this Camille split push in the top lane. And even, okay, sure. This is the last pick I expected from Zhuo.
Yanja is here. The top Kench Senna once again.
All right, well,
I hate top Kench Senna. This is so boring.
It just means that top esports is like, screw bot lane. We're all in on top. We are just going to camp the hell out of 369 and make sure Nuguri's not having a good time. But Nuguri, kind of reading this, has gone, right, if yous are going to dive me and yous are going to jump in on top of me, I'm just going to take this Kennen in the top lane, have that ultimate, probably opt in towards an early stopwatch and see if he can survive these top lane plays. With Bo having that semi-global as his own, can try and help out in that top lane.
Nuguri, definitely an exceptionally proficient Kennen player. This is one of the picks that certainly at Worlds was a highlight pick for him. But one advantage of this bottom lane for top esports is that while the plays are happening on the top side with Karsa and 369, JackeyLove can always get involved with that railgun, just blast off the shadows towards the top side, get some shields, maybe even get a kill from the opposite side of the map. Top esports, though, once again, with a reasonable amount of scaling on their side, but when it comes to getting that snowball rolling, FPX are the kings right now.
And they have the tools to do it once again. I mean, you've got this Taliyah who can knock the Weaver's Wall, try and get up towards the top side. You're looking at least with the Kled as well, another champion that can shrug off Syndra's damage, because you're just able to jump off of Kled or jump off Scarl and just be little Kled. And he can wiggle his little legs up towards this top side when he shoves in that wave as well. Trying to see if he can camp this Camille, just have more punching power in that top lane than 369 and Karsa can bring to the table.
I just love, I'm watching the player cams and you see all the top esports. There's Knight and Karsa giggling away. They both got their big grins on their face, and it goes to JackeyLove. He's like stone faced, like super serious. This game means everything to me.
Hey,
I
look,
just love the contrast.
He's got to have blue steel on at all times.
It's the smolder. It's the smolder. But we're getting into game number 2 here. Top esports 1-0 down right now and looking for a bit of redemption as we head to the ring. I just love when we see top esports playing. It feels like nothing can break these guys' spirits. They're 1-0 down, and honestly, game 1 was incredibly one-sided. Top esports, they need these wins. They need to climb up the standings. Right now, they're in 8th place. This is the summer champion. This was the theoretical favorite of the world champion, right? That everyone was so excited for before Worlds started. Now they're in 8th in the LPL. They didn't have a good Worlds run. Like, after all of that, you've still got Karsa and Knight just giggling away as they head into the game. There's still that confidence. There's still that self-belief that this team just seems to have limitless amounts of.
They're going to need it here as well. Certainly from Karsa, I want to see him getting aggressive towards this top side. I like the starting point from here. Going to be clearing out the Raptors by himself, into red, and then in towards that top side. So we'll be there to try and help out 369. 369 though has opted for that ignite. We've seen this a lot coming through. Means that you are a lot more vulnerable if we end up seeing Bo and Doinb trying to make that counter play on towards the Camille.
JackeyLove being real aggressive, but he's knocked up and punished for it. Hail of Blades on the Kaisa means that they win the 2v2. JackeyLove flashes out. He's deathless in the lane so far, but Lwx wants to ruin that statistic.
Get over
trying to
here.
get in range. The Q comes in. Flash on cooldown. He's trying to close the gap. One more auto would do the trick, but he can't quite get in range. JackeyLove gets a heal, so the auto isn't enough. Karsa arrives, and JackeyLove survives.
They managed to survive JackeyLove. I don't know what Guardian Angel is looking after him, but the fact he
Karsa
managed to escape away from that on 2 HP with Karsa there to support him. My God, that was so close.
Everything was just perfectly calculated. Don't worry, JackeyLove had done the maths. He figured it all out. Oh,
Nobody
God.
can kill him before 15 minutes.
He's invincible. You ask what Guardian Angel, apparently that Guardian Angel is Karsa, because he's like, oh, my bot lane's in trouble again. So how to get down to that bottom side ASAP.
Well, Karsa's still here, though.
Yeah, he's gone deep, but does have a Tahm Kench. I don't think that's going to save him here. What the Guardian does? Oh my days! He survives again. This is unbelievable. Chris goes in. Ah, well, that's me with egg on my face. Chris just clops him down. That's a double kill for Knight instead, because guess what? There's an entire team here. 1 kill on JackeyLove doesn't do anything.
That's 3 quick kills now for top esports in that bottom lane. That's a monstrous way for Lwx to be losing. And although we expected all this pressure on the top side, it's bot lane where top esports are winning.
And you know what? JackeyLove may have now died before the 15-minute mark. But regardless of that moral victory for FPX, top esports have a 1,000 gold lead and 2 kills on their Syndra.
And this is why I love Rell. Like, the ability to have that attract repel stun everyone around her means that it's so strong. And then the double form of the Ferromancy means you actually get a huge amount of CC. The shielding that comes in off the crash down as well. She's just so potent in these early skirmishes. Now though, Bo, level 4, in behind top esports.
JackeyLove, you've got 2 aggressive, mate. You've bitten off more than you can chew. They are 2v4. JackeyLove, there's no way to survive this one. And I think Zhuo might fall alongside him. Doinb just going to be hacking away as he chases him down, but they don't actually go for this one. Nuguri now caught by Karsa. The rest of the squad could move up, but Knight, I think, staying in the mid lane here, doesn't want to chase too far. And Karsa decides to leave that one out as well. In the meantime, though, 369 could push out this top wave, maybe crash a few minions.
You still have the TP for Nuguri though, so he'll be able to get up there in time. Won't lose out on too much. But again, these haymakers are starting. 2 kills now for FPX and
Karsa stopped the recall, so actually this wave will crash on the top side. 369 gets to just push this one in for free. Nuguri couldn't actually recall in time.
the chase is on though. Karsa is in the wrong side of the jungle. TP towards top lane.
All right, this is what I wanted, Dagda. This is the fight night that I booked tickets for. In they go, odds to a B, knocking him back with the stun from Knight. They back away in the end. I got way too excited for something that didn't happen.
I mean, look, the thought was there, all right? You know, you saw him wobble a little bit, thought, oh, maybe he's going to go down. Maybe we get the knockout, but no. He manages to escape away from that. Very good job from Top Esports, though, to kind of congregate around that, because that was dicey for Karsa. If FPX been able to find them, they get the kill, a lot of goal going back over towards like Bo or Doinb, and even a bit more control over this mid lane for Doinb would be a disaster for 369.
Ooh. That is huge from Knight. Managing to dismount Doinb right as Knight is getting close to hitting level 6. That means Doinb just has to get underneath his tower and fully respect this Syndra.
I like that he's sticking around, though. Like, this is actually smart. Knight just wasted all of his mana to try and clear out the wave. So Doinb knows he gets to farm this for free. He's going to get a really solid back. Like, he should have the Iron Spike whip, assuming he's going towards the Gore Drinker, like most Kleds and like most of the time Doinb does. And it makes it very difficult now for Knight to try and get control of this lane, because that AoE clear does a lot of work against the minions. Even though it was nerfed on 11.2, it helps so much with that clear.
All right, 369 is in trouble. Nuguri's level 6. Bo's coming in as well. The stun onto 369. There's the flick back and an easy kill for Bo. That was just beautifully orchestrated by FPX. Top Esports look to answer on the bottom side with the Dragon.
And this is the problem. I mean, Karsa hasn't actually been playing towards 369, and he has no flash. He's gone for this Ignite, and if you're not going aggressive and having a little bit of support come in from your jungler, you are very vulnerable to these plays underneath your tower. So kill going to Bo, 2 turret plates going to Nuguri. Nuguri has already got that Seeker's Arm card. He's real good. He's in a fantastic spot right now, and you are struggling as 369.
Yeah, and you know, we looked at the draft and we're like, they're definitely going to dive top. Total opposite game plan here for Top Esports. And now that bottom lane that we're talking about is in trouble. Zhuo, 1 HP, flashes out to safety. And thank God he's got a center alongside him, because any other AD carrier, I think he just goes down.
Yeah, very, very close to it. Like, under the tower, a lot of bursts from Lwx. It does mean, though, it shuts down any sort of plays that could come in on the bottom side. The cross-map plays is what you always look out for. You see Bo going in towards the top lane, and the Karsa, even with the wave that was underneath the tower, now can't set up a play because Zhuo isn't able to reset aggro. He's too low, so they just forego any sort of bot lane play.
Yeah, and I want to quickly point something out when it comes to summoner spells. Obviously, we saw Knight recalling back to lane earlier on. Doinb has held onto that teleport. He could have teleported back to lane on his most recent recall, but he's holding that because he's on Kled. If he can get behind the bottom lane here with a TP, if he can get behind JackeyLove and Zhuo, or get behind 369, either one works, there is a huge amount of potential to make plays around the map. And that is exactly what we know Doinb for.
Top Esports are the ones making the plays on these objectives. Dragon did go just over to Top Esports. Now FPX on this top side as well, realizing that Karsa has started this up with 369, but not really in a position to contest.
Crisp is here, but he's on a ward, and Doinb about to get knocked off of his lizard, but he slinks away underneath his mid lane tower. This will be the herald taken by Top Esports. Nicely done. And I think the important thing to take into account here is the fact that Top Esports, while they haven't got any towers or anything just yet, they've got that first herald, they got the first Drake for themselves as well. Gold is dead even. The big thing we talk about with FPX is that they snowball these advantages. They get leads early and snowball it into a win. Top Esports doing a really good job to match them this early game.
Watch the bottom lane, though. Yes, you've got the wave pushed in, but Bo is trying to move into a position. They know that this is going to creep back out. They're clearing out those wards. I don't know if that spotted Bo. Looks like he's not convinced it didn't anyway, and he's going to back away.
Yeah, I didn't see any pings on the minimap from Top Esports, but I think it was close enough that they're like, all right, let's not risk it, because we know, like, Top Esports, if it did spot, would definitely punish that potential play. So I think correct decision from FPX.
So let's look at where we're at, right? Because we're just coming up to 10 minutes. You got 369, who's 10 CS behind, a bunch of turret plates in this top side as well. And if this matchup is allowed to just stay in this kind of isolated 1v1, Nuguri's just going to continue to farm gold away from 369. So I want to see Karsa now, with the ultimate, with this Rift Herald as well, make a play on this top side to try and get that lane back in their favor. Bot
TP
side,
down
though.
bot side. Zhuo's going to try and save JackeyLove. Root comes in, and Bo's actually taking a tower shot here. He's in trouble himself. Zhuo has a stopwatch to keep himself alive for now. Eats JackeyLove to keep him alive. He's on 1 HP. Inside Tahm, Kench's belly. Kicked out and goes underneath the tower. Doinb finishes that kill, but he sacrifices himself as Karsa gets a double, and 369's behind everybody to make it 4 kills.
Gorgeous timing from Top Esports. No TP available on Nuguri. It's seconds away from being up. And Top Esports used that minute difference to get 5 people into that bottom lane and turn around the play from FPX. Beautiful job.
I'm surprised they didn't drop the Herald in that bottom lane. That could have easily finished the tower off. But let's take another look at the fight, because Zhuo, I feel like he baited this beautifully.
Just not quite getting hit by the crash down means he's able to waddle his way out, and it could have been a very different story, because if you go for that stopwatch further away from the tower, well then Doinb isn't in an awkward spot here where he's tanking up several of these turret shots. It's as well Lwx is in a little bit of a safer position because you can turn on towards 369 when he comes out, but well played by Zhuo to just about get away from that and draw FPX further out of their comfort zone.
Very nicely done. And now Top Esports still with the Herald. It's starting to run out of time, so they've got to figure out a lane to get that in. But with Drake coming up in 40 seconds, they can also just use that to grab priority in a lane to set them up for this Drake.
I still think you need to try and use this elsewhere. I mean, look at the size of Knight. 3 kills, Luden's Tempest complete. Same when you look at Karsa. 3 kills, Gore Drinker. He's in a fantastic spot. I mean, he's got the Gore Drinker ahead of Doinb, who's in trouble.
Doinb gonna get caught in the Hextech ultimatum. This is surely gonna be a kill. Unleash power available, but Karsa kills him before the orbs even come in. 369 is low, but that's a beautiful scat of the week. Nuguri denied entry into the arena for Fight Night here because there's a dive about to happen on the bottom side of the map. Crisp and Lwx are well aware of the situation. They dip as the Herald is dropped for this bottom side. They're going to give all of that juicy gold over to JackeyLove while the rest of the team takes down the Drake.
And I love how quickly Top Esports are playing this game. This is actually what we saw from FPX last game. One play turned into a bunch of turrets, objectives, goals. Now we're seeing the same. Bot lane turret gone, dragon gone, mid picks happening, and suddenly that gold that was relatively even has now shifted 2,000 gold in favor of Top Esports, with the composition that can work very well around these objectives as well, especially from like the likes of Knight and JackeyLove. FPX are going to have their work cut out for them to bring these fights back, but the good news for them is they've got Nuguri, they've got Doinb, these big team fighting bruisers that can do so much work.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, is like, what is the next thing for FPX? How do they pull themselves back into this one? Because with a 2,000 gold lead, with 2 Drakes back to back, and scaling carries in all 3 lanes here from Top Esports, it's feeling real good for them. So it feels like this Kled, you do have to have a couple of items before you can really influence the fights in the way that we've seen Doinb do in the past.
Yeah, and he's been struggling a little bit as well because he hasn't got this early influx of gold. You can see there, he still hasn't completed that core drink. Waiting for it now, just going to be completed in the base. But that's the thing, is that you already had this complete on Karsa for so damn long. And now he's trying to get a little bit more pressure, actually, looks like, on this top side.
Yeah, 369 spotted Bo out, so he'll be able to pop away with the hookshot walls jump, whatever it's called. Karsa is grouped up with the rest of the squad in the mid lane, though. The next Herald is spawning in just under a minute's time, and you can see Top Esports immediately rotating everybody up towards that half of the map, because that's the next thing on the old checklist to win a game of League of Legends.
Yeah, and with Mythics completed across the board, FPX aren't really in a position to try and fight this. Like, no Gale Force coming through from Lwx. Bo just completed that Luden's Tempest there. They're so far behind with these early objectives. Aren't really working out for them. They need to wait for, honestly, their second items, try and stop the bleed, and maybe then when you got like Gore Drinker, Sterix, you've got Zhonya's and the Rocket Belt completed for Nuguri, Lwx has got that Collector picked up, then you can look to get these big wombo combo fights, but at this stage they're just not really there quite yet.
And I feel like I set myself bad expectations for this series here today, Dagda, because we looked at the stats and it was like, okay, these guys are going to fight all day, every day. But actually, both of these teams are very intelligent teams and play intelligently sometimes. Got to put that caveat, this is the LPL.
The caveat.
And when it's an important game like this, because this is the kind of game that could determine seeding for playoffs. Like, we could easily end up with these two teams fighting for seeding in, like, you know, third, second, fourth kind of positioning. So you do have to expect that these two teams will play intelligently and won't just fight for the sake of fighting, just for our entertainment. 369, however, is going to prove me wrong as he tries to begin a 2 versus 1 here. The ult from Zhuo denied by Crisp. In comes Lwx for the 2v2 on Zhuo and JackeyLove. It's going to be Lwx to get the first kill. Crisp goes down to answer for his crimes, and now Lwx flashing out over the wall. There are no flashes to follow, and it's a beautiful 2v2 now. Doinb in a 1v1 with 369, just about has the damage, and the Kled comes up clutch.
And it's a nice play from FPX. They managed to get that kill on the bottom side. They do trade though, 2 for 3, but look at the top side as well. They are getting these kills as well, so up in kills, up in turrets, up in everything from that trade, and this is what we wanted to see from FPX. This is not a squad that would just roll over and let opponents drive by them with the victory. They will fight them every step of the way.
I just want to point out something on the scoreboard here, that Zhuo right now is 0-0-6, and that's an important stat line because it shows a huge upgrade in the offseason for top esports, because Yuyanja would have been 0-6-0 instead.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just harsh, all right? But as you can see here, Chris, amazing on this Rell. Manages to stop Zhuo there with his own ultimate. And then in this bottom lane, Bo does get focused down, but Doinb picks up 1. And although 369 tries his darndest, it gets very, very close to picking off Doinb here. Doinb is able to close it out. And the big thing for Doinb as well is this is some much needed goal back in his pocket. He was very far behind in terms of Syndra, in terms of the game state as well. You can see it from the CS. He's now well further along that road towards the Hysterics and is now going to be a bigger threat when he completes that for these upcoming fights. But sitting right now, 13 seconds on Dragon. You've got flashes burnt galore on FPX's side. If Nuguri maybe can get this big flash engaged, they can set it up. But with the amount of summoner spells available for top esports, it's going to be hard for FPX to find favorable.
Yeah, 369 no TP, and he's not in the fight just yet. Doinb, you can see him hiding away, waiting for the teleport. It's going to come on through. Top esports surely got to respect this one. Karsa moves into the pit, though. He wants this Infernal Soul point. Has to use the Aegis Assault, and he gets the Dragon against all odds, and he jumps out the other side of the pit. Lwx on the back of the fight, trying to take down Karsa, as Nuguri is across everybody. Stuns across the team, and top esports are scattered to the wind. Knight trying to escape, but there is no escape. When FPX want a fight win, FPX take themselves to 5-man clean ace.
And Nuguri once again, the flash in, the big shockwave to get onto top esports, and it is gorgeous play from FPX, shutting down top esports. And although the Dragon went the way of top esports, it gives the opportunity now for FPX to take down some of these structures, get some gold back in their favor. But honestly, they've got a timer now. 5 minutes until that Elder Soul is up, and when Karsa is making smite steals like this, you've got to be careful as FPX. Now, you can see here, Doinb, great job to zone away top esports, but with Crisp coming over the wall, Nuguri with this great engage as well to follow up on Crisp, there's nowhere to go. And despite the fact that so many flashes have been burnt in those previous skirmishes, FPX are so capable of closing the gap with the amount of mobility that they have in this game.
It's so beautiful to see, and like, I can't avoid just saying this one. Nuguri is absolutely miles ahead of 369 in this series. He got MVP in game number 1, and just look at the scoreboard now in game number 2. He made the play that won that fight for FPX, and look at the CS differential, 50 CS in favor of Nuguri. He's constantly had his teleport available for these plays. Like, it just feels like Nuguri, he's in a class of his own.
I mean, world class. I mean, this guy's a world champion for a reason. And he might actually catch out Knight here.
I don't know if he can just go for this one 1v1. There's the scat of the week coming on through, but he had a cleanse. Oh, he's a 5-head Kennen. He might be an electric mouse, but he's a clever one at that. Rodents are quite intelligent, but Nuguri, oh, he was 1 damage away. Oh, it was so close. Bo now has been caught. Hextech ultimatum. 369. He's not going to let him escape from this one, and grabs himself a cheeky little solo kill. So, there we go. Caster cursed that one. Nuguri's out of the picture. 369's it.
Yeah, now Knight is showing what he can do on the fancy footwork with the Syndra, managing to escape away from so much of that engage from Nuguri. And in the meanwhile, Bo gets caught out by Top Esports. So now, driver's seat again for Top Esports. They've got deep vision for this Baron that's just spawned. And when you've got 2 minutes until this Infernal is up, you start to think maybe this is where Top Esports can do it, because you've got to commit it to it as FPX. You've got to 100% put all your resources into stopping this Inferno Soul. But that gives 369, if he wants to, the opportunity to crack open top tower to
Nuguri.
Die to Nuguri.
Oh, he got over it anyway. How did he get away with that? Criminal.
369 somehow walks off. Yeah, and even with the charge coming out from Doinb as well. And we have to mention the fact that it's fight night. And we're finally getting what we wanted. More than a kill a minute here between the two teams. It's 12 and 12 on the scoreboard. FPX with a gold advantage, but Top Esports with the Dragon advantage and the potential for an Infernal Soul. This is what I wanted to see. Now, you can see everyone grouping towards the top side of the map here. Drake not for another minute and a half. But again, both these teams very willing to just brute force a Baron if they find the opportunity.
FPX are desperate to make a pick, though. They've got a minute until this Dragon is up. And if they can get someone on Top Esports down, they can maybe pick Baron before it starts. Maybe they can get full control over Bot River for Dragon. It's all about trying to just lessen the pressure that's on both sides of the map right now.
And before this next Drake fight starts, because it's up in a minute here, I want to quickly visit the inventories that we're seeing across the board here, because Karsa is on 2 items. He is a big tanky Pantheon with that Sterix. But also, JackeyLove has a Rage Blade. That is such a ridiculously huge power spike for Senna. Consider that a late game AD carry at this stage.
JackeyLove's going to be huge, but so is the double TPs available on Top Esports. Like you can see here, they're realizing, hang on a second, 369, you can play towards top side here with Knight. We can look to duo push in on top of Doinb, who's the only one who has a TP available in FPX. Potentially here, alongside Karsa, they can go for a dive. They may even just give up this Dragon. It's the first one for FPX and look towards Inhibitors top side instead.
It would be a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for them. As you say, though, double TP's available. Knight going to be recalling. He's got a needlessly large rod in. I think he might be able to finish his second item on the recall here. As JackeyLove, he is not afraid of Crisp. My God, the damage he is doing is already disgusting. In comes Knight. He's got a Seraph's Embrace for himself as Karsa has been found. He's been caught out. Is tanky, has the Sterix, has a lot of sustain, but he's still taken down 1v3. Now Doinb on the back line trying to get down onto Zhuo. Top Esports retreating from this one, and FPX have to consider whether they want to go for this Drake and leave the Baron open. Doinb dismounted. The Top Esports know that they can threaten here. Nuguri moves into the mid lane as FPX will have to settle for a tier 1 mid. Karsa up in 15 seconds. Wait a second, Bo. Where did 369 go? He's pulled out a magic trick. Here comes Nuguri into the play, and FPX out of nowhere blow everybody up. Knight now suddenly alone has to pull off the 1v5, and he's going to try and make it happen onto Chris. Bo comes out the other side and he gets outskilled, but he's got a Zonya. He outskills the outskill button, and FPX are gifted a Baron.
Top Esports tried to do everything and they lose it all. Instead of playing either towards the Dragon or trying to play fully for the split push, they end up half and half between the two. Karsa gets caught out. JackeyLove and Zhuo have to run for the hills. And then Bo, with the hero play onto 369, nets the Baron as well for FPX. They had their cake, ate it, then found out there was 3 more cakes, and they got them all.
I mean, cake is delicious. What more can I add to that kind of analysis? Let's take another look at the fight, because that was chaotic. Bo, though, just destroyed 369. That is crazy damage.
And gorgeous again from Crisp here. This Rell is doing work, and Crisp is a master of this champion. Sets up perfectly for Nuguri to follow up, and Doinb cutting off all directions. Bo once again, as he said, outskilling the outskilled. And they net the Dragon, the Baron, bunch of gold. Now they're looking for picks as well. 369.
369, his teleport is interrupted, and Doinb's more than happy to go for a 1v1, but Bo is here. 369, no TP available, but Bo reads him like a book. Nice little Q to finish off the kill. 18 to 12. And I think Chris wants a little bit more as they move further into the jungle. They're looking for a bot tier 2, I think.
They'll happily take that. And this is where FPX get a bit dangerous because they have such a strong 1-4. How far ahead Doinb is, well, not far ahead, but at least the item spikes for Doinb on this champion as well. He's just happy to sit in this bush for the moment, but FPX can turn on a moment's notice down towards that bottom side. And at least for top esports, there's still going to be the pressure up in about 2 minutes time for this dragon. They should have all their flashes and all summoner spells still up at that stage.
Yeah.
But it is about trying to wait for that, hold strong turtle in the base, and see if you can sneak away this.
Could have a fight here. Karsa taking a bit of damage from Bo. Crisp went a little deep, and JackeyLove wants to punish him for it. Has the rapid fire cannon now, so even though he's 1-6 right now, even though these kind of coin flip players in JackeyLove and 369 are living up to that reputation in this game, they still are massive threats. 2 items on the Camille as well. But I'm trying to find... Oh, hang on. JackeyLove. Bo is just... He's a duck to water in this team. Bo is the perfect jungler for FPX.
Yeah, Bo is amazing. This is even what Chris said, is that the mechanics in this guy are beautiful. He just needs someone to kind of point him in the right direction and teach him the ways of LPL. And he's learning pretty damn quickly, I will say. Karsa, though...
Yeah, Karsa gets over the wall with a blast gun, but the crash down and Nuguri's here on top of everyone once again. And FPX, they might just be able to close this one out shortly. They've got the Baron to work with. They've got a wave pushing in the mid lane. 369 is rage splitting right now in the bottom side of the map. TP coming on through from Nuguri. They want to at least get an inhib for themselves. First tower goes down. First inhib will go down. They can even retreat up towards a tier 2 on the top side as well if they so wish. The Baron has run out. And they actually respect here. They don't over push. And they decide the inhib isn't worth it.
It does mean, though, when you look towards Dragon in 40 seconds, you've got a wave for FPX to really need to shove out bot. They have at least top wave pushing in successfully. And they can, on FPX's side, look to contest this. But a lot of summoner spells were burnt in these last few passage plays. Like even here, Nuguri, I love this. So smart. Uses the blast cone to get over, to get the Rell stun, but then positions himself so he ends up in on top of Knight and Zhuo. Flashes over the Scatter the Weak and gets these plays. However, now when we look at this dragon, he doesn't have his flash available. He doesn't have the TP for these flanks either. He needs to be far more creative with how he gets in, or else using the fact that Doinb is here and on the flank to try and get in. But actually, it looks like top esports has said, look, we're not willing to fight. We don't want anything to do with this. We're going to try and push in this top side instead. Have Karsa play bodyguard for 369 and hope FPX can't take off any more than they can chew in the bottom.
And I think it's really, really important that we set an expectation here that just because FPX are ahead right now does not mean this game is over. They are 8,000 gold up. FPX are a heavy favorite at this stage, but it's still top esports we're talking about. This is still 2 powerhouse teams. We've got world champions galore across this matchup. You can never count either of these squads out, so keep your eyes on what's happening because Inhib's still very much alive for top esports. And they're still on Infernal Soul point. A singular steal could still net top esports a massive damage spike. Bo will escape. And Bo's the next thing I want to talk about here, Dagda, because, you know, he got his double quadra kills on the Olaf, and everyone's like, great, that's all very exciting, but, you know, he got early kills in those games, blah, 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 whatever, it's fine. He is consistently performing on this new FPX roster, and JackeyLove is not, as he's way overstepped, but Zhuo is here to keep him alive, try and pull him out of the fight, but Lwx and Bo, the damage is unbelievable, and Doinb's found the flank as well. I said that you can't count them out. You very much can, ladies and gentlemen, because they're gone. Another clean ace and an easy series for FPX.
The sweat was on their brow from the early game, but 20 minutes hit and FPX come alive and take the game against top esports.
JackeyLove is maybe the new username because he stepped into the mid lane for a wave and it just was not worth it. It cost him the game. Was the caster minion worth it, JackeyLove? I don't think it was. 2-0 as FPX maintained their position as the second place team in the LPL.
Yeah, JackeyLove getting taunted as water boy by the Gatorade of FPX as they're able to take him down and get the kill for themselves. But what a performance from FPX. Like, genuinely. This was a team that we kind of look at as, okay, well, they tend to snowball their game. They almost always just get this massive lead by the 15-minute mark and they run away with it. This game was one that they had to work for that victory. It wasn't handed to them on a silver platter. Top Esports did an incredibly good job of trying to push FPX to the limit, controlling the early stages of the game. However, it didn't matter. Like, when we got to that 21-minute mark, that fight at Dragon, where you end up getting the Infernal Dragon for FPX, then make the pick on towards Karsa in towards more picks by Bo once again, into the Baron, just blew open this game, and from that point, Top Esports were dead in the water. They had tried everything that they could, but FPX always managed to find that one just small opening in the armor.
Yeah.
And bring it back in their favor.
Top Esports had already tried every strategy, so they thought, oh, well, let's just send JackeyLove to solo push mid while FPX owns the entire map. Yeah, that's great last-ditch resort strategy there from Top Esports. Yeah. I'm being a little aggro there, but yeah, this is a rough defeat for Top Esports, especially when they controlled the early game. We talked about how both of these teams really want to snowball from the early game. They really want to have control early and take it from there. But FPX find them in the mid-game fights. I do just want to quickly give clarity for anyone that's joined in halfway through the game there. The reason we're wearing ties on our heads is because it was fight night. We knew there was going to be a lot of fighting. We saw a lot of fighting. This was a fantastic game.
Fantastic series as well. But I do have to say that Top Esports got the early lead, right? We saw them playing around this bottom side. Fantastic. Double kill coming into favor of Knight. You're up there. JackeyLove had got a kill for himself. You're up there. Well, let's now move over towards 369. And we called about it from minute one, is you have got to get Camille ahead. Because if Nuguri is able to just play his game, he's going to chip away at the tower. He's going to do what Nuguri always does, which is get this massive advantage for himself and then place that elsewhere in the map. And then we saw it once again. No attention put towards 369. Nuguri is manhandling him in that top lane. And then the Kennen came into these team fights. And every single time Nuguri pressed that R button, there was about 4 people there. Like, it just didn't matter. Like, he was hitting multiple people every single time and tearing through those.
Honestly, one of the crazy things about this series is that we saw Nuguri versus 369. Nuguri having a significant advantage in both games, but also the difference towards like AD carries, right? JackeyLove looking really inconsistent in this series. Karsa getting straight up out jungled by Bo. Bo is the rookie on this FPX squad, and he's looking like one of the all-star players. If you just watched this, if this was your first ever FPX game and you were told some of these players are world champions and some aren't, who's the world champions? Bo would be one of the people that you'd say after watching that game. He's looking exceptional.
Yeah, and I will give the caveat there that Karsa definitely had a different role to play, as Karsa always does on Top Esports, where he is playing a much more defensive kind of, let's control the jungle. But when Bo is just unleashed, he's uncontrollable. Like, you are just able to run away with this game as the FPX rookie, getting these multiple kills onto the Taliyah, predicting where people are going to move. Like, Taliyah requires setup in a lot of situations to get that seismic shove. Bo didn't care. Nah. He was just like, cool, you've selected Taliyah for me. That's all the setup I need. Thank you very much. I'm going to run away with this game now. And I love watching him against the likes of 369 and these guys where you know that these are mechanically strong players. Like, you know Knight. You know what he's capable of. Same when you look at JackeyLove. And this guy's just come in and smoked them all.
Yeah, honestly, Bo looks amazing. Nuguri as well. Yeah. This is one of those games where it's really difficult to call who MVP is going to be, kind of similar to game number 1, because so many players on FPX are popping off. And it's like that performance from Lwx this game, I feel like is a standout performance as an AD carry on the Kaisa. Did exactly what he needed to do, did a ton of damage, everything else. I don't think he's going to get MVP. Like, you have to go so far above and beyond to get MVP on this FPX roster because the talent that you're surrounded by is just so insanely high. Every single player looking amazing. I'd say the weakest player this game was maybe Doinb, who looked great. So it's like, how do you fight against this? I don't know what the answer is.
This is the thing. Like, Crisp is playing some of the best League of Legends. Like, he actually looks like 2019 Crisp again.
Yeah.
Nuguri is coming off the World Championship and doesn't understand that there's supposed to be a World Champion slump. You're supposed to look bad after winning the World Championship. That's how it goes. It's been the rule for about 4 years, and he just hasn't read it, apparently. You're looking at Doinb, who, although a little bit of a slower paced game this time against the Syndra, is still playing absolutely out of his mind, consistently finding these perfect roams. And it feels like the whole team has now rallied around Bo as well to just set him up. So you've got a carry jungler who's playing out of his mind, a supportive mid laner who's delighted to have a carry jungler that he can work with or around him.
Yep.
And you've got Nuguri, who's the king of weak side. Like, you stick him top and he's going to win regardless. Like, it's just ridiculous what FPX are capable of right now.
The hilarious thing as well about like FPX drafts is that whenever they lock in a mid laner or a top laner, you never know which one it's going to be. Like, we saw the Kled come in. And, yeah, I mean, you see the Kled and you're like, all right, this is Doinb, right? But Nuguri could definitely play Kled. And I wouldn't put it past Nuguri to play Kled. He likes to bully lane. Kled's pretty good at bullying lane. So you have to then pick a top laner and a mid laner that can win matchups against both of what you expect to see come in. And then the Kennen comes through and it's like, oh, well, it's a totally different champion to the Kled. So now we've got an amazing matchup in mid and in top. So it's like, how do you even draft against that? It's impossible.
You can't. And that's the problem. FPX have so much flexibility. Nuguri, Champion Ocean. I mean, I'm looking at it here. He's played so many damn champions in the top lane. At least for the first, I think it was 8 or 9 games, he'd played a unique champion for every single game when he joined the LPL 2021. And from that, I mean, Doinb, he's got a heap of champions there. We have no idea what the depth of Bo's champion pool is right now, but at least on bot side, Crisp has looked absolutely incredible on Rell, Sett, Threshes, anything that you want to give him, he will look good. And FPX are just thriving as a result.
Yeah, it's honestly beautiful to see. This is some of the most fun League of Legends you get to witness is watching FPX dismantle the other top LPL teams right now. I cannot wait. I don't know when their series is against EDG, but I cannot wait to watch it. We have some highlights, though, of Crisp, because I think rightly so, Crisp is looking fantastic right now. And the Rell especially, I think he looks like the best Rell in the LPL. He's very clearly figured this champion out.
Yeah, you can't give him Rell. He's just way too strong. Even if you end up in a reasonably poor matchup in the bot lane, he just roams and gets a whole bunch of kills with Bo. Like, this guy is just so smart about how he plays the map. And in team fights, he's a monster on this pick. Like, look here. This is where you kind of see the difference. Is like most Rells would try and just go for the crash down. Instead, flashes in, get the magnet field, guarantee the knockup. Like, it's these little decision makings in the heat of the moment that make him such a good support. And honestly, it's hard, if you're, as you said, drafting against FPX, because you don't want to give Twisted Fate, you don't want to give Rumble, you don't want to give Rell, you don't want to give half the bloody champion pool over to this team.
Yeah, they just play too many champions and they're so damn good at every single one of them. Every other team is like, all right, it's the start of spring, let's warm into this. And FPX are like, all right, time to win ourselves some games. We are basically halfway through this split, though, and you can see that Crisp is racking up those MVPs already. He's got 3 for himself, and I expect many, many more if he can continue to grab Rell for himself.
I'm not going to be surprised if we see a lot of more MVP performances coming out from this guy, especially on champions like the Rell. But the interesting thing for me is now, like, we're looking at our top of the table, because FPX still firmly in second place. They're now 7-1. And they still have to go up against EDG, who are 7-0. So I can't wait. They still are hot in the heels of EDG, who are 7-0. So I can't wait to see how this one's going to pan out.
That one's going to be nuts. We're going to head over to the stage. Wendy is standing by with our MVP, Crisp, to have a little bit of a winner's interview. So let's see what he has to say.